couple of decades, 20 or so years, I've been running with Stihl saws. I just, not long ago, a few months ago, blew up my 660, MS660 Magnum. So I've already rebuilt it twice, so I've put new cylinder and piston into it twice now, and I didn't feel like doing it for a third time, so I figured I don't operate the chainsaws as often as I used to, so why bother spending that kind of money? But I still wanted a good quality chainsaw, and I did some research and I settled on the ECHO. This one is the ECHO Timberwolf. It's 59.8 cc displacement, I guess. The actual numbers, I wrote them down, the names of them, just so I wouldn't get it wrong. So this one is the CS590, and so it's not a professional grade saw. So that was a tough decision to make there. But like I said, I don't use the saws as much anymore, and not in the same way, so save a few bucks. I paid in around $700 for this saw, which that's Canadian dollars, and it would have cost me, I believe, to replace the 660, although I know this isn't a 660, but it would have cost me to replace that, I think, in around $1,600, something like that, so more than twice the price of this thing. And for my purposes, the 660 is actually a bigger saw than I need now that I have a sawmill. So I saw this one, and I might have gotten it on sale, so less than $700. I can't remember exactly. So everything on this is plastic. Plastic, you know, cover here is plastic, handle's plastic. You can get this same saw in the professional model, and it's the CS690P. And really, from what I can discern, for sure, this is magnesium on the professional one, and the handle, which on the 620 is also Stihl. Plus, you get a second dog on here, and you know, the chainsaw dogs, it's not a great dog, but the ones on the professional are a little more aggressive, and you do get two of them. I've got enough fuel through this thing now that I figured I could do a safe or a fair review on it, and frankly, I'm impressed. That's the stock chain it came with. It comes with an Oregon chain. It's aggressive enough. It pulls pretty well. It cuts well. You saw in the two cuts that I did that they were decent cuts. What I was cutting through was roughly a 7-inch birch log. I'm happy with it, especially considering how much I paid for it. I'm not going to push it too hard, but I never would have bought one of these before, but you know, circumstances change, and you know, like the nuts on here and this plastic and the chain adjuster, they're kind of janky because this is all plastic. But even on the magnesium on the professional one, it's the same setup. So you would have magnesium here instead of plastic, but still, it's, you know, it's a little lesser quality. It's not the sturdiest construction for adjusting the chain and whatnot, but the oiler seems to work well. I had to adjust the carb a little bit because out of the box, but otherwise out of the box it ran nicely. The one concern that I would have with it, I haven't run it in cold weather, so I can't talk about that, but the one concern that I would have with it would be the safety feature that they have on it. So you've got to depress this in order to pull the trigger, otherwise it doesn't, you know, pretty standard. But on this one here, you barely touch it and the trigger goes. Like it's so light and so soft that there are times that I reach in and my finger hits the trigger and the chainsaw actually revs up. And I barely touched anything. You know, it's like I've just put my hand on the handle and touched the trigger. So that's one thing that I've had to pay attention to. But again, that's just something you get used to. Shouldn't have to get used to it, I don't think. So yeah, it's not much of a review here. I just figured I'd give some quick words on it. is that I'm a big fan of the professional quality saws, you know, like the Stihls and the Huskies. With the other companies like this in Pooland that do put out their professional line of saws, I don't find, even when I looked at the professional version, this is 620, for the extra, like the 620 would have been about $1,000, so another $300, so you know, 1.5 times the price almost. I didn't feel that just those few little differences, you know, the steel handle and the magnesium cover on the chain. So, you know, if you're looking for a professional saw, this is definitely not a professional saw, and even the 620 I think would be a borderline. But if you're a homeowner who puts your saws through decent use and you want something a little better than your average homeowner saw, this is a decent saw, so I'd recommend it. You know, keep in mind, just like everything else, there's a learning curve to getting used to this if you're used to using some other saws. But oh, got a chipmunk visiting us here. Anyways, I guess I'll leave it there. Said wasn't a whole lot to say, but I hope that's helpful, and get out there and cut some wood. I'm gonna get back to work now.